This is GerotheHero, and this is my review of Bungo Stray Dogs, Season 2, Episode 15. We find out that Oda survives. It's not really explained how. Maybe just Anzai just got there in time and they were able to heal him, or maybe used his powers to cancel out the poison if it was caused by a power. But basically, Oda tries to recall what happened and that he noticed that um, Ongo was taken away by Black Ops guys, and Danzai obviously knows that that's not Mimic. It's another third party. So um, Danzai pretty much says, we don't have to worry about that third party. So obviously he knows something about that organization, whatever that is. But he says, you know what, don't worry about them. Um, so Oda feels that he has a debt to Danzai because what he's found out is Atagawa is basically going to go and try to fight Mimic. So Oda feels that he needs to go back him up, and he goes there. And at first, Atagawa looks like he can take on Gita, the head of the Mimic organization, but Gita counters him because of his power. Apparently, he has the same power as Oda. He can see in the future, and he counters Atagawa very easily, almost in the same manner Dazai did. So it's kind of a funny scene, but Oda comes in and even though Atagawa was injured, Oda just kind of throws him over his back and he's just like, put me down and I don't need your help. But he takes him away anyways. And at first, Atagawa wants to fight Oda because of what Dazai said, that he's a better person than himself. So he wants to try to fight him. And luckily, Oda, with his powers, is able to see that he's going to try to kill him, but he blocks it and counters him. And he kind of figures out that, he's going to try to kill me, so I better just take him out, knock him out. So he knocks him out in almost frame for frame, pretty much the same as Dazai, where he just kind of stunned him and knocks him out. So at this point, Oda thinks he's going to take off with Atagawa, but Gita intervenes and forces Oda to fight. Oda at first doesn't really want to fight him and tries to just kind of counter whatever Gita's going to try to do. They both have problems trying to read each other because they have the same power. They both try to, do different things, and Oda's seeing visions, but they're kind of distorted. So, I mean, we suspect that they interfere with each other. Um, but at some point, Gita tries to force Oda to fight by trying to kill Atagawa. And Oda gets in the way, but it shoots to his like bulletproof vest. And Gita thinks that's going to push him to the edge, but he still refuses to fight and explains that if he kills anybody, then he can't become a writer. He explains that that's the reason he doesn't fight. Gita explains that he is going to find a way to force him into fighting him because he's the only one that, in his belief, is a match for him, and that he's the only one that can deliver his men. That Oda is the only one that can kill them and make them feel like, that is a worthy battle. So it's kind of ominous, and of course, Oda shouldn't take that lightly, but I think he kind of does. We go to the next scene, and Oda and Dazai kind of talk about the situation, and they try to figure out, well, we need to find Ongo, and Dazai figures out that he's probably going to be at the bar that they all met at. It's kind of surprising that Ongo's there because they got all reunited, but of course the circumstances are bad. Dazai, of course, knows, and also the Port Mafia knows that he was a spy that all that time. So even though Ongo is trying to give them information as a friend, it's kind of like they can't trust him anymore as a friend. He gives them one little piece of advice that the reason that the fight between Oda and Gita went kind of bad is that when two people's powers that are the same interact with each other, they kind of distort and cancel each other out. So Oda's going to use that to his advantage. What happens later is that Gita tries to go visit the orphans again, but what he finds is that the caretaker, the guy that works in the restaurant's dead, and then he freaks out because he can't find the orphans. and it's probably the worst scene, um, because they use the kids and trap them in a car and blow them up. And I don't think I've ever seen a scene where they use kids or anything that bad, except for maybe like um, John Wick, where they killed the his dog right in the first part of the movie just to get him to fight again. So they knew that that would be his trigger, and you just see the rage of Oda, and you know that that's it. That's gonna get him to fight, and now he's gonna be serious in the next episode. So it was kind of crazy. It was a really great episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode. So, like always, comment below, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you next time.